story we're going to talk about is Keisei Tominaga. Nebraska is 7-0. Currently atop the Big Ten standings right now. Purdue is most likely going to be tied with them at the end of tonight as they're playing Texas Southern right now, and it's going Purdue's way as I have it on my iPad here next to me. But I do want to talk about this Nebraska team because I tweeted out a few days ago, Penn State was up there with the undefeateds of Purdue and Nebraska. Of course, they lost 3 games. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. But this is kind of unexpected. I don't think people expected a Nebraska team to start 7-0. Keisei Tominaga is playing really well. Burke, what are your thoughts on Tominaga this year and what he's doing for the Cornhuskers?
I mean, Keisei's been great. I truly thought, though, at the jump of the season, it was going to be him just going out there and hunting every shot opportunity he could. It looks like this season he's working within the offense a lot better, slowing it down. He's not forcing anything. The shots are making themselves present, and it speaks to what they're doing on the offensive end, but it also, his supporting cast is just really helping him out this year. And on that rink mast, I'm sorry, you wanted to talk about Tominaga, but rink mast, this Dutch destroyer that they got in from Bradley, this guy, he's averaging a 14-point double-double right now. He has brought something to that front court that I didn't think they had last year. And that and in tandem with just, I think they're working like 3 forwards right now that are really, really just taking care of business down low, allowing Tominaga to lurk on the outside and take full advantage of his opportunities. But it's him and then Juwan Gary coming off the bench. Juwan Gary is making his case for 6th man of the year for sure. I think he has yet to crack the starting lineup, but it's crazy. He's leading the team, I believe, in points per game right now. And it's just offering something that this Nebraska team has not had. And I mean, while I wouldn't be afraid of an undefeated Nebraska team with just the competition they've played so far, I think this season might be a little different for him.
Yeah, Fred Hoiberg has certainly put a team together here. Not just, have a few good players playing well, but as you said, Tominaga's supporting cast as well is really coming through and giving him some more support. And just the way they play together, the way the offense is flowing now, they haven't played the best schedule in the world. They've not upset a Kentucky or something like that. They'll have their chance against Creighton. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But overall, I've been very impressed with this team. Like you said, rank mast, Juwan Gary scoring a lot of points. Frank, what's kind of been your thoughts on Tominaga and just kind of Nebraska as a whole so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of echo here what Burke said, I mean, I think everyone thought it was going to be the Tominaga show, and it hasn't been the case at all. And that being said, like he's still on fire. I mean, especially when you look at his numbers, he's still shooting 40% from 3. But really what's impressed me the most about him this season is he's getting to the line a lot more. Right, last season we saw him at 17% free throw rate. That's up to 36.2 this season. So we're seeing him looking to score in other ways and really getting to the basket, drawing those fouls and making teams pay when they really try to close out on him. So, I mean, I just think he's kind of taken that leap in other ways, not necessarily from a role aspect, but he's really improved as a player. And I think that has a lot to do with his experience over the summer in the FIBA games as well. But he is. I mean, how do you dislike the guy, right? He's a fan favorite, but I don't think anyone expected what we've seen from Juwan Gary so far. And you're right, their best win is only over Duquesne, but I like this Nebraska team. They are fun and they're undefeated, and you can't argue with that.
You're right. I think that's a great way to put it. Like they're just a fun team to watch. They play well together. They're always rooting for each other. Tominaga is a star that is shooting really well and fun to watch. I just think it's been his aggression this year. The way he's been aggressive, like you said, to get to the basket, not afraid to get to the free throw line, do those kind of things, and really taking his shot and owning his shot as well. I'm not saying he's taking bad shots or things that he shouldn't take, but it just feels like he is in more command of his game, really operating the way he wants to play and not, kind of like the new guy playing that, is looking for a spot on the team. So Creighton is coming up, right? Creighton, number 15 team. They've had a good season so far. I think they have one loss.
They lost to Colorado State.
Colorado State. That's right. So not a great loss for them. But they did beat Iowa earlier this season, 5-1, number one in the Big East in terms of wins and things like that. So it's been an overall good season for them. I don't know how much of a win on the resume they're going to be at the end of the season, but right now they're ranked 15th. Burke, what are your thoughts going into this game versus the Blue Jays?
I mean, I think Creighton's great. They're going to live and die with how their shots fall, but I mean, they can make them at an incredible clip. That Colorado State team, I think by the end of the season, we're going to look back and I think they're really going to build something. Yeah, I think this is going to be an absolute battle. It is. It's their first true test, and it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if – I mean, it is a 3-man rotation that the Huskers are operating with in the front court. So if Creighton can somehow get them in foul trouble, we'll see what this Cornhusker team is made of. But, yeah, as far as who I think is going to win, I would bet on Creighton, but you can't count out the Huskers. They're undefeated right now. We're going into December. They're undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, make it through November and you're undefeated, even if you're not playing, quote unquote, the best schedule ever. That's still impressive for just about any team to play through. Frank, what are some of your thoughts going into this one?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Nebraska, go on the road and take down Creighton, last year, and I want to, I don't think the Colorado State loss is that bad. They're currently ranked 29th in KenPom, and they're currently top 40 in both offense and defense in KenPom. So, they don't have a signature win yet, outside of Creighton, but we're time will tell if that was an outlier or if that wasn't. But ultimately, Burke, as you said, it really comes down to Creighton's shot. They're going to live or die by the three, and that's ultimately what went wrong for them in that Colorado State game. So they actually lead the country. They're number one in the country in percent of points from three, and they're third in three-point attempt rate. So this is a team that's going to live or die by the three. The only question is, in that front court, who do they have that's going to handle Ryan Kalkbrenner? And I think it's going to be by committee. But we saw him do it last year. Granted, this is a very different Creighton team. They lost some key pieces, but right now, KenPom predicts a 1-point win for Creighton. So I think this game's going to be a lot closer. Nebraska does have the home advantage. They have the hype right now. I imagine fans are going to show out for that one. I think there's a pretty good chance we see the Huskers beat Creighton.
Dan, hey, before we continue, just credit Frank for bringing the numbers today.
Frank's always got the numbers ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, you look at Colorado State and you make a good point. They're higher up there than KenPom than people might think. I think the Creighton Blue Jays, they really relied on Kalkbrenner a lot last year. There was some kind of crazy stats on like their point differential without Kalkbrenner than with him. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something crazy last year where Kalkbrenner was obviously just the guy they needed. But I don't think they're quite that team as much this season to where they're relying on Kalkbrenner offensively and defensively as much. They still rely on him a lot, and like you pointed out, Frank, they are a very 3-point heavy team. So, I mean, they only scored 48 points against Colorado State in that game. That's not what you're going to see after scoring over 80, almost over 90 in every other game. To score 48 points, that's just unreal to go from that average down to that. So it's an interesting one. We'll see how it goes. I personally like the Cornhuskers a lot. I don't think they're fake. I don't think they're fool's gold. I think that this team is a better team than maybe we gave them credit for in the preseason. And I think that they might be able to shock some people and shock the Blue Jays coming up here soon as well. Any final thoughts about the Cornhuskers in Creighton or any other players on Nebraska, guys?
Well, I just think as a whole, the Big Ten needs this win. So go Huskers.
Yeah.